Alright guys, we're here with Mike Truth Johnston. And what's going on with your business, with your art right now? What are some big things you're working on?
So we just wrapped up a mural for the new Terminator movie. So Paramount was the client, and they, recruited me to paint this mural. It's about 4 stories tall on the side of a movie theater. So that was pretty cool. And then once we were done with that, we started doing a mural at an office. So that's kind of like our main bread and butter comes from murals in office spaces. And we're gearing up to start one in about a week. So if we're not actually painting a mural or painting on canvas, then we're designing for the next project. So this week we have to do 5 different designs, and it's a part of the process. The client's got to see an idea of what you're gonna do. You can't just say, hey man, I'm gonna make your wall cool. And you're like, all right, I trust you. That's usually not the case.
So one of the big questions that kids had was, how do you come up with your ideas, and what is that process involved in those beginning stages, and even like, do you get stuck, and how do you get those creative juices flowing?
So I'd say the number one way to get creative juices flowing would be to play some music. So I'm a big fan of hip hop, big fan of reggae. So there might be a song I'll be super excited about, and I'll just put that song on repeat and listen to it 20 times in a row. And that kind of feeling that I get from the song will get me motivated, get me jazzed. And then so I'll brainstorm by looking at pictures. I'll brainstorm looking at other examples of artists that I look up to, and put down some ideas in a sketchbook, and then use Photoshop to basically collage and move things around. And yeah, there's a lot of times where you feel kind of stuck, and I work with my wife, which is great because she could be super honest with me, and I might work 3 hours on a design, and she'll come home and say, oh, that sucks, throw it away, start over. It's like so defeating to hear that, but that honesty is key. And I think another one of the questions somebody had was, how do you deal with rejection? It doesn't matter if you do art, music, sports, life is all about rejection. So there's going to be plenty of times that whatever you're doing, somebody's not going to like, and whatever you're doing, somebody is going to like. And so I think the key thing, regardless of what your passion is, to do it. And when you have those setbacks, let those setbacks kind of be the wind to kind of help push you forward, as opposed to being kind of like shackles that are going to hold you back.
What steps do you take then to kind of turn that into a positive for yourself?
So yeah, it might be there's a company and they're looking at 3 different artists to do this project, and they choose somebody else. Then I think, okay, how can I just really step it up so my next design is chosen? There's a line that says you should treat every day like it's your first day, like you're an intern. So sometimes you kind of get in the groove and you do things that work and it kind of stays the same. But unless you're pushing yourself and stepping out of your comfort zone and having some of those rejections and those failures, I think you're going to be kind of complacent and stuck. So you do have to push and work your way past any of those kind of hurdles.
Cool. What would you say has been the biggest challenge for your business, and for developing your brand?
The biggest challenge would be how to juggle being a businessman and being an artist, because I would say a lot of times people are really good at one and not the other. So to be good at being a businessman and being an artist is pretty tricky. For me, it helps working with my wife because she's really good at the business side, and so having that kind of team dynamic, that really helps. And then as I've gotten to be full-time for, this is the 6th year that I'm being, just doing art full-time, I've met more people and got to know that a lot of the folks that I kind of look up to, my heroes, at first I thought, man, they're doing all this stuff by themselves, and they're not at all. So these artists that are putting out a lot of work, doing a lot of murals and doing all these projects, they have people behind the scenes that are helping them. So like that phrase, it takes a village. It really does. It takes a group effort to really make success happen as an artist. You know, people helping out, people kind of giving you ideas, people kind of giving you critiques before you actually give work to a client or design to a client, having other people kind of speak into that design and give their feedback.
Has there been a point along the way in the last 6 years where you felt like the challenges were too much and you maybe even thought about quitting or pivoting towards something else?
There's definitely frustrations in the sense that when you're an artist, 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, you're creating something that a client has requested. So even though I'm working on this Pusha T painting, and I love Pusha T, that was a client's request. And so you are creating things custom to their needs or their wants. Christmas is coming up and people will say, can you do a portrait of our family? And that's gonna be a Christmas gift. So in the dream scenario, maybe I wouldn't be painting portraits of these people that I may never see again. So there's definitely like a give and take, and we try to tell the clients whatever their request might be. This is how we can do it. It'll have, you know, those different elements that you want, but still make it something that we're proud of and they're excited about. So there's always this kind of dance, if you will, on keeping the client happy, but also creating something that we love. And yeah, and there's been times too we've had really big projects that we were out of our comfort zone, like painting on that Alamo Draft House, the big movie theater mural. We've done that 4 times now. That's on a 4-story building. I'm afraid of heights. So there's definitely been opportunities where we've agreed to do projects, but didn't know how we were gonna do the projects. About a year ago, we did a mural that was all on glass. And we didn't know how we were gonna do that. We just said, yeah, we'll do it. We really had to do some research and experimenting to see what kind of paint, what kind of clear coat will protect it, how's this paint gonna stay, because normally you can just easily scratch paint right off of glass. So there's definitely been the challenges, there's definitely been frustrations in terms of projects that didn't turn out the way we wanted, or projects we worked really hard to get going and then last minute they fold and the client decides not to go forward. But I would say even with all the kind of hiccups and setbacks, I wouldn't do it any different. I wanted to create, and I wanted to make that my full-time living, and I felt like the regret would have been too big if I didn't take the chance when I did.
One of the biggest questions, without any shame, was how much money do you make? So when somebody's curious about the living that you're making as an artist and kind of approaching that question, how would you answer that, and even just present something for like the kids to get an understanding of what it's like to be a full-time artist, and even within those financial challenges that you see as a self-employed businessman?
Yeah, so right now our price points, we have kind of like a low, a middle, and a high. So we do per square foot. So our murals, we go $30, $40, or $50 per square foot, depending on how much detail we put into that mural. So I would say on average, a mural would cost about $5,000. Now, if we have a typical month, we might do 2 to 3 murals. So that might be either 10 grand or 15 grand. But then we might have a month where we do like 4 or 5 murals. And so then the payout's really good. Now the curveball, you might have a client like Paramount, when we did that project for Terminator, they might not pay for 2-3 months. So you've done the work and you're waiting for 3 months to get paid. So you can't just go out and just spend all your money when you get it, because some of the clients, it takes them a long time. There's a long process on getting paid. Like when I was a kid, I would mow grass. As soon as I was done mowing grass, boom, cash in hand. But that usually doesn't happen for a lot of these big companies that we work with. And then yeah, when we have big projects, we also have to pay other artists. And once we pay them, and then as you look around this studio space, there's like paint everywhere, from spray paint to latex paint, and the material costs, you know, those add up. So I wouldn't say that it's like, oh man, you know, I'm living in this big mansion on the hill, where there are artists that do that. But I would say for us, we definitely live comfortably. We don't struggle. There's been projects that we look back and say, man, that one project paid for what a whole year of teaching used to do. And that just blows my mind, because I didn't think anything like that could ever happen. And I would say maybe we're in the middle of the road. There's some artists that get like $100,000 per project. And so it really just varies. So if it all boils down to, can you make a living doing it? Yes. How hard you want to work, how much time you want to put in. We have a baby girl now, so I'm not trying to be working till early in the mornings and missing out on family time. So my priorities have shifted as well. But yeah, you could work 7 days a week and just grind, and you could be, you know, super successful. So I guess it's really up to like what's important, what you value. So my advice would be just try different ways to express yourself. You know, it could be a combination of things. It could be you're doing some kind of lyrics or poetry or creative writing. Incorporate that into a piece of art. Picasso says, steal like an artist, because there's so much already that's out there, that's already been done. How do you make something new? It's like taking an idea that inspired you and kind of twisting it, kind of remixing it a little bit to make it your own. Don't be afraid to try new things. Rejection is definitely gonna happen. Failure is definitely gonna happen, but that's a part of growth, and that's a part of getting better. So kind of take on those opportunities. And I'd also say, don't let social media be the validation point. I would say I guess I'm a grown man, I'm 40. Even at 40, I'll post the image to Instagram, and I'm hoping it gets a really great response. And when it doesn't, you know, I'm kind of bummed, but then I have to remind myself, well, this is a piece I'm proud of. Maybe the rest of the world didn't see it the way I saw it and didn't get as excited. So, you know, the amount of likes you get doesn't necessarily mean a piece is going to be awesome or whatever. So Instagram is cool. I love it. It gives me inspiration, helps get my artwork out to the world, but I try not to let it be the only form of validation that I get from creating. All right, guys, today is your day. Go out and make a difference. So I was recently asked either how I'm a ginger or why I'm a ginger. The question made me laugh out loud, which I don't even know how to answer, but genetically my dad is a ginger, so that's how that worked. And our 6-month daughter, she doesn't have much hair, but it looks like possibly she might be a ginger. So what do we say? Hashtag gingers unite? Yeah.